All right, guys, I said the next jet boat video, we will have this thing up and running. Oh, we got a leak. We got some leaks.
Oh yeah, we're ready to go, baby.
What's up, guys? We are finally working on our K-Swap jet boat. Once again, I know a lot of you guys have been waiting on this thing. We finally got some components in that we've been waiting on for quite some time, and our goal is to make a big push on the jet boat and hopefully get this thing up and running here very soon. I mean, we're already pretty deep into summer. It's July. We want to try to hit the water, and we want to really get the jet boat up and running. So this is a little steering column, I guess you could call it. So this is all of the steering stuff that we're going to need to hook up to the jet drive. So this is what comes on the Jetstream boats. This is from a company called Seastar, and basically this guy will bolt up to the dash. You can see it has this little guy back here. This spins with the steering wheel. This connects to this kind of gearbox right here. So that guy will connect up behind the dash. And then there's this little arm that bolts onto that. And then there's this guy that has a whole bunch of different mounting positions depending on where you want the cable to come in from. So there's a whole bunch of adjustability, because also if you have the cable on the other side of the jet pump, the boat might steer backwards. So all kinds of stuff we have to figure out. But long story short, we've been waiting on some steering components for a very long time, and we knew we wouldn't be able to get very far until we could make the boat steer. We want to try to get this boat as complete as it can be before we do a final seal up. Our jet pump unit is still not sealed to the hull, but we want to make sure that everything is going to work in concept. We want to hear the boat fire up. We want to make sure the steering works. We just want to make sure everything's in place before we do the final seal on the boat, because it would suck to have to take something back apart after we, make this thing watertight and everything's sealed and ready to go. So we got the steering stuff in. We still have to get a cable as well, which I found one locally. We're going to try to go grab that today and see if we can get the steering working on our jet boat. And from then on, we have to also get the fuel system figured out. We have to get the cooling system figured out, and just a whole bunch of other little things buttoned up. But as you guys saw in the last video, I mean, we got this thing pretty much wired. We just got to throw a battery on there, throw oil in the engine, and in theory, we could probably fire this thing up with little to no effort. But it's just all the other little things around it that we got to get up and going. With all that being said, we're going to try to do a big push on the jet boat today, boys, and try to make some progress. And we just might hear this thing fire up. So let's get to it. So right now we're marking where everything needs to go. It came with this handy little template here where we need to drill our holes to get all of these steering components bolted up. And we actually took some measurements off of Cletus's Freedom boat, because it is the same model as this one. And Ty actually got some measurements for us over there at McFarland Fabrication, and he sent us how far over their steering setup was. So we're going to kind of go off of that, because we don't have our seats installed in this thing yet. So we were a little worried about installing the steering column in the wrong spot and, and not lining up with the seats.
Yeah. To me, it seems really far over, but I've triple checked the photos, and that's where they have it. So.
Yeah, it looks good right there. At first, we thought it needed to be a little more over to the left, but that is where they rest them, right there, kind of offset on this window here. We do want to get this nice suspension seats for this thing eventually. They're just pretty pricey units, so we're working on trying to get some of those in. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if our first water test is in freaking lawn chairs or on some milk crates.
For real.
Knowing us.
I'm about it.
But if we start hitting some waves, we're going to need some nice seats in this thing, or else we're going to blow our backs out.
Them nice spring ride or air ride ones like old Cleater's got.
We'll just take some air ride seats out of a semi.
About it. Some big old couch.
We'll just put a big old couch up here. Big lazy boy.
Let's do a whole bench couch on like air.
That would be so sick. Check it out, guys. We got our little steering column inside. This does have a little tilt mechanism in there, so we can adjust our wheel how we want. We still have to order a steering wheel for this thing. We weren't really sure what wheel goes on a jet boat, but it looks like it's like a marine style steering wheel. I guess there's some adapters you can order, so we can still put like a car style steering wheel on here, which I think is what we want to do. But now that this guy's installed, we gotta go ahead and get ourselves a cable so we can get this thing hooked up to the jet unit. perks of being in Florida, I'm at this place called Don's Marine Surplus and Salvage. They have so much boat stuff over here. You got all these engines, and they just walked me back to this little section over here, and we got our cable here. They actually had one in stock. I had a part number that I needed, and this is a jet boat specific cable, and they just so happened to have one here, and they actually ended up having the right Heim on the end there as well. We were digging through some bins to see if they had some stuff. But this is my kind of place. It's literally just like a car junkyard, but for boats, so it's pretty cool. Like I said, dude, there's just so much boat stuff here. The property goes on for, I don't even know how far, but all kinds of cool stuff out here. All right, so I just got back with our steering cable here, and we got a couple things done on the back of the boat while I was gone. Wyatt's actually been starting to work on the cooling system. So this right here is a pressurized fitting on the pump. So this is a pressure zone, so pressurized water will be coming out of this guy. We're going to be tapping into that. We have this line coming off right there, and we actually drilled a hole through the back of the boat here, welded an AN bung onto that guy. So on the inside of the boat we have another AN bung welded as well, so this guy will screw on like so. That'll feed water into the boat. We have that going through that sand trap filter deal.
Did we show them that?
No, we haven't shown any of that yet.
Let me show them real quick. So that port comes from the jet pump, comes into this. It's gonna go up to our sand trap deal. Real simple setup, and then that's gonna go out and feed the engine. And then we will have another line that comes off of the back of the cylinder head, which will be our water return back into whatever water we're riding in.
Yeah, and that's what we're gonna try. I know there's a lot of stipulations, so many comments telling us one way to
do a closed loop.
Yeah, like so many different options to how we could do the cooling system. Our buddy Tom, if you guys know his jet boat, this is how he runs it on his, and he has zero issues on his boat. His jet pump setup is a little different. He actually had to run a regulator, so he didn't have too much pressure coming into the engine, and you know, like
every
damage something inside
outboard
of it.
motor and jet ski ran the same style cooling since 2010.
Yeah, you know, our jet skis run on the water that they're driving in. We're not concerned that if we take the boat into salt water, that the salt water is going to damage the inside of the engines. When we get this thing home, we're going to flush her out. And it's just a stock K, dude. If we heard it, we're going to just slap another one in it. Like, you guys
$800 motor, dude. It's going to ride.
We don't care. We're kind of figuring it out as we go. So yeah, that's how we're doing the cooling system. Like you guys just saw, though, we got the cable. So right now we're getting ready to drill a hole in the back of the boat so we can get the cable mounted up and get that hooked up to our steering column that we just got installed. And our jet boat will have some freaking steering for the first time. And that's a huge step for us that we want to get out of the way, because we've been waiting on the steering components forever. So that was a huge setback on the boat for us. A lot of that stuff was on back order, but now we got all those parts in, and we're ready to get this thing steering. Once we get the coolant system done, we're really close to being able to fire this thing up as well, and then it won't be too long until we can get this thing on the water. All right, we got our mark made right here where we're going to drill through for the steering cable. I'm just going to center punch this guy, and then we're going to have to pull the pump assembly back apart so we can get our drill in there and drill this guy out. There, just like that. We're about to have some steering, dude.
Yeah, dude, we're getting there.
Oh, this is so exciting. I talked to the guys over at that marina place with all the boat parts. They said just to throw some like marine silicone on each of these washers, and that's all they use to seal these up back here, and we'll be good to go. So something we realized about this cable, this is perfect if we're using the jet ski style pumps. That's what this one's designed for. But our Scott water jet pump is quite a bit longer, and we do have to actually extend this guy out just a little bit to actually reach the end of the jet nozzle right here. So if you guys look, right there is where the cable will connect. It pushes and pulls on this guy right here, and that's how you get your steering. But since this guy is so long, we do actually have to add a couple pieces to that to make it reach.
Unfortunately, that's the cable maxed out.
Yeah.
And it should be maxed out that way.
Yeah,
So,
just a
like
little short there. But we got that covered for right now.
Yep.
We just made a trip to Ace Hardware, and we got ourselves some all thread.
Before we get roasted in the comments, I already ordered all stainless hardware for it. It's just for mock-up.
So I'm up under the boat right now, and you can see the steering components right here. We actually have to move this bracket over to these two holes right here because it has this guy, so you can switch depending on what side the cable is pushing and pulling on the jet nozzle there. We had it set up for this side, but right now if we turn the wheel, it's going to be push and pulling the opposite direction. So right now this boat's steering backwards, so we just got to move this bracket over to this side get it hooked up. That's why it has those two options on either side there, and we should be good to go. But it's really nice that this cable we got is the exact product we needed, because all of the pieces that came with it were correct. So this guy just screws on right there to that end of the cable. This end will bolt into this guy right here with a little, it has like a little plastic collar, and then threads on that side thread into a little guy that fits on the end of these ears like so. So that guy slides up into there. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch this bracket over to the correct side, get all of this together, and our freaking jet boat will have steering, boys. She's all hooked up here. We just have to get these fully tightened, but it is connected to the jet nozzle. And right now we have working steering on the jet boat. Until we get our steering wheel in, vice grips will do. But we just got all that hooked up under the dash, and we got a piece right here extended to the end of the nozzle. Go ahead and turn that thing a little bit. Oh shoot, dude. We have steering. She's turning. Dude, check that out.
That feels like it goes much further one way than the other.
Think so?
We need to do some adjustment.
Yeah, nothing's set up perfect, but she does steer.
Point of no return.
Yeah. This is where the gas is going, whether we like it or not.
Nice. Shove her in the hole, see if she fits.
Might have to take that edge off a little bit. Oh, just barely. Hold up. Oh, perfect.
Ain't never coming back out.
Ready to fill up, boys.
Pretty nice, dude.
Clean.
Big, fancy. Nice.
So we just got a hole drilled in our boat for this gas fill tube right here, and this is the gas cap off of our fuel cell. What I'm doing right now is I'm going to be cutting a hole in the top of this cap. We're going to screw that guy back on. We're going to make this nice and simple. We had some of this aluminum tubing laying around that is the same diameter as that guy right there. Just cut some angles into that, and we're going to have all these guys kind of make a little bit of a, you know, a bendy bend shape like so. We'll weld those guys together. Those will go onto the top of the cap there, get that welded up, and then we'll just connect this guy to the top of the gas cap with a tube, hose clamp it up, and we will be all good to go. And then we also have to make sure we have a good vent on there and everything as well. But let's get to welding. So we got our hole drilled in the cap there, and I just got that fully tightened down because you may see where this guy sits, and if I didn't get it fully tightened and we went to like snug it up and this guy's like not aimed where we want it to be, that wouldn't be good. But got that guy like so, so that will weld onto the cap, and then it has a straight shot to the hole in the boat there where the fill neck will come out of, and we'll just connect those with a tube. We'll be all good to go. So we just pulled the fuel cell out of this thing, got the fill neck and stuff figured out. Wyatt has been working on the coolant and fuel system a little bit so you can get a better look at the bung there. So this is the water coming in from the pressurized side of the jet pump unit. That goes into our sand trap like we showed you not too long ago. And we got the fuel cell out because we are going to be mounting up the pump and filter. So I got these brackets made, and we just got to get those tacked up into the back of the boat there.
Yep, should work pretty good. Kind of sucks doing a boat. You can't just drill through and mount stuff. So everything's got to have its own bracket.
We drill holes through it. That's more places for it to leak.
And it will 100% do it. So
yeah, so that guy's just gonna mount right up there on the back.
Yep, go right there like that. And these are both rubber mounted, so they'll be isolated from vibrations. And we'll just have a little fitting off there, go to our tank, one off to our rail, or our regulator, and then one off to the rail.
Yep.
Simple as that.
So I'll go ahead and get that guy welded up, and then we'll be able to throw the tank back in.
Yep.
Get all our fuel lines hooked up.
Be good to go. Fire this thing up.
Yeah, dude. We're just a battery away and a couple fuel lines from it being able to run.
Yeah, it's getting close.
Brown-eyed girl. A brown-eyed girl. All right, guys, we're at the back of the boat here. Got our Scott Waterjet 632 unit all kind of assembled, and everything's where it's going to be. Might I add, this is a beautiful looking jet pump, but I think we mentioned this in one of the previous jet boat videos. Our reverse bucket here does hit on the bottom of the swim deck, so we are going to have to clearance this a little bit with this nozzle trimmed all the way up. Our jet stream is going to come very close to hitting the bucket here. I mean, it might technically clear, but this bucket's definitely made to be higher up than it is. So me and Wyatt were kind of talking about a couple different ways to go about it. We were thinking about actually cutting a chunk out of the swim deck here, so the reverse bucket goes up into the deck and it's kind of sitting out of it a ways, and we fill that back in with some aluminum tubing, and it just makes everything look like it came like that. But I think just for now we're going to start with notching some of this tube out and make some room for the bucket to come up and just kind of see where we go before we cut too much out and realize that we didn't have to do that. So we're just going to start by, you know, kind of cutting into this tube because it has to be removed anyways, and if we need to go farther and actually notch a chunk out of the swim deck, we will do so. But I'm going to go ahead and just start cutting and see where we end up. Well, after about a solid hour of angle grinding, we can lift our reverse bucket up into place here. She stops on the stop, and if you look, we are not hitting anywhere on the back of the swim deck. We got a little gap on both sides. That is the bucket resting up on the stop right here, and that looks so freaking good. So she is all the way up, and that is where it's gonna need to be for when we're driving the jet boat. But as you can see, we actually took off more material than we needed to. It's a good thing I didn't take out a huge chunk like we thought we might have. We are going to have plenty of room just notching that bar like we did, but we do have this pretty big opening right here, and I don't know how I feel about that yet. What I think I might do is actually take a piece off of the section that came out. It's a little bent up, so I'm gonna have to reshape it, but I think I might actually cut this guy in half, and I might weld it back on and actually kind of shape it around the bucket here and actually have it come to a point and just kind of fill this space in, because I think that will look really nice. And then if that does look good and comes out how I would like it to, we're probably gonna have to angle grind this back some more, and we're gonna have to custom shape a plate of aluminum to seal all this up right here, because we don't want water going up into our tube and stuff like that, obviously, and it will just look a lot better. So this isn't the final result, boys, but the clearancing is done. The bucket does not hit, so now we just gotta figure out how to make this look nice and seal everything back up, and we'll be good to go. So I just got this piece made up right here, and I got that tacked onto the back of our boat. This was just made from the section we previously cut out, and then I realized we cut a little bit too much off. So I got that guy tacked into place, and if we lift our reverse bucket up into position here, you can see that follows the contour of the bucket very nicely, and I'm really happy with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this welded up, and after some grinding, hopefully you won't even be able to tell that I had to weld a massive chunk back into place because we cut too much material off. But I wasn't sure how I was gonna like the look of this until I got that piece on there. But after seeing everything kind of come together here, that is looking really good. So let's go ahead and get that welded up. All right, boys, I think we are calling it good for right now. It's not completely done, but check her out. First bucket all the way up. That looks pretty good if I do say so myself. Let me know how you guys like it in the comments. I tried to sand some of this down, get some of those angle grinder marks off of there. Just needs a little bit more finessing, some final touches, and that should be ready to go. I'm really happy with how that came out. And yeah, like I said, I think it would be a good idea to try to block this in, but with this point here, it is gonna make that a little bit of a challenge. I did realize that this tube just goes to that guy right there and it just kind of ends. So I mean, if water got in this, it would just drain out and it wouldn't be the end of the world. I could just drill a little hole back here on each side. It is aluminum. It's not like the water is going to hurt it, and there's no way for the water to get into the boat. So, you know, worst case, we might not fill this in, knowing us, but we'll see about that in the future. For right now, I'm calling that good to go. And yeah, that looks freaking sick. So right now, I'm working on getting the fuel lines and everything done. And as you guys saw, well, I got some brackets made to hold up the fuel pump and filter. Right now I'm just getting those guys fully welded into place. I'm having slight flashbacks to when I helped Cletus weld his boats together, because after a long day of welding on the inside of one of these, that next morning my eyes were completely shot. So I'm being very careful to not weld too much on the inside of the boats here. We think it reflects a lot of the light and it like somehow gets to your eyes. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get these finished up, and then we can get the fuel cell kind of back into place here and start running some lines. We have a regulator that will mount off of the filter, and once we get some fuel lines figured out and all that's ran to the engine, we also went and picked up a battery. I actually got that guy this morning. It's over there. So that is a Optima blue top battery. It's a deep cycle battery. Should be really good for the jet boat here. But our harness and stuff is already laid out. So I mean, once we get power to the engine and we rig up some power to this fuel pump and get the lines made, boot up a tune, we might be able to hear this thing run. So we aren't too far away, boys, and I just want to get this thing going. I'm getting really excited, so I'm not going to stop working until this thing is running. All right, guys, I said the next jet boat video, we will have this thing up and running, and we are getting very close. We have spent several days working on this thing, and I think here in a few, we are going to be ready for a first test fire. So as you guys saw, I was just working on the fuel lines. We got that all done. The tank isn't fully bolted into place yet. We were actually missing a fitting for the return line right here, so we'll have to get that buttoned up later. For right now, we're just gonna fill this guy up and just run the return back into the top of the tank right there and move on from there. But if you look right back up under there, we got everything mounted up. Got our fuel pump, filter, and the regulator right there. They are all rubber mounted. We still have to make a mount for the regulator as well, but that should all be good to go. And the lines are hooked up. And we just got the harness plugged in. We do have oil in the engine. As you saw, we got that battery earlier as well. And we went ahead and hooked up our harness to the battery. So we should have power. We should have fuel. We haven't primed the system yet to see if there's any leaks. But once we confirm that, we can build some fuel pressure. And we have power going to the fuel tech. She's all plugged in over there. We can boot up a stock base map tune and give this thing a fire. See what happens. So I'm freaking pumped. We also got the drive shaft disconnected for right now because we don't have any of the impellers on the jet pump unit. So we just got that guy taken off right now just to hear the motor start. But we're getting very close here, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and fuel her up and let's hear this thing fire up. All right, here goes nothing. We are just rigging the fuel pump up for right now. Oh, we got a leak. We got some leaks. That was your line, dude.
It was my line. We said it was gonna go.
All right, well, we'll be right back. There we go. 50 PSI, no leaks. That should do her. All right, guys, moment of truth here. We just double checked the fuel system, no more leaks. We got everything that we should need plugged into the engine. All of our injectors are plugged in. We got all of our coils. We had to steal one off a Wago. We were missing one. We got the map sensor line kind of ghetto rigged to the top of the intake right here for now. So this is the one that goes into the internal map that's built into the fuel tech. We got the alternator belt off of this right now because we're not going to be running the alternator. That's not hooked up. We got power going to the starter. We are just going to kind of ghetto rig the starter with a screwdriver and see if this thing will fire up. I just hit up Brent as well, and we got a stock K-Series tune sent over. We got her booted up and loaded into the fuel tech here. Everything is powered up and ready to go. And we did actually have a couple issues with the throttle. We had some outputs that were not in the right spot after we re-uploaded the tune, but we got that working now. I'm gonna go ahead and give me some throttle. So we got our drive-by-wire working once again. He is working nice. And now, actually, one more thing we are going to throw on is an exhaust manifold. And we don't have many to choose from. And we don't want just, the exhaust flame shooting right out the side at our gas tank here. So we're gonna go ahead and throw on the twin turbo manifold that came off the MR2. And at least that will somewhat help the exhaust flow go up and out of the boat. So we're gonna go ahead and slap that guy on real quick, and then we're ready to crank this thing over and see if she'll fire up. Like a glove. We might as well just twin turbo this thing. I think we'd have room, right, Wyatt?
Yep.
Terpsky there.
Send it.
Run the exhaust up and out.
We need to put an aluminum rod motor in this and just a 1,000 horsepower jet boat.
While the MR2's blown up, we'll just throw the MR2 away. When we get the new one from JBR, we'll just put it all
right in here.
And the jet boat will do backflips.
Yes. This thing will wheelie just like the MR2 did.
Yeah, that would be a little sketch. But I'm about it, dude. That looks pretty sick.
Looks pretty tight.
Got a lot of wires going on. It looks like something's about to happen. Something's gonna happen.
Something's gonna happen.
Hopefully good. Hopefully
Ryan was mentioning a fire extinguisher a minute ago, so.
Well, we had some bad fuel leaks, so we do have a fire extinguisher over there. Hopefully our boat doesn't burn down.
I'm gonna go grab that.
Yeah, grab the fire extinguisher just in case. I can still smell the gas fumes. We're gonna snug this manifold down with 2 bolts, and
I think she's ready to fire.
Crank this thing, dude. All right, Wyatt. If it starts up next week, get in the water, dude.
All right, let's go. I'm ordering a wood wheel for this thing.
Yeah, pirate ship wheel.
About it. This is a classy jet boat.
It's not really gonna do us.
That thing even charged? Perfect.
Oh, is it out of?
Oh yeah, it's big in the red.
Well, it's the thought
So,
that counts.
how about go grab the one out of my shop?
One time that we need it to, though, or it might not.
Go grab the one out of the garage, because it's good. Solid. You ready?
Do you want to wait for him to get the fire extinguisher?
Probably wouldn't hurt.
I think we're gonna send it. Let's just send it.
Let's just go.
Let's send it.
All right.
You got a water hose outside?
All right.
don't
I'm
need
going to
fire.
tell you where that fire extinguisher is. One of y'all better
If
run.
something catches on fire, you just run to the good fire extinguisher. And I'll open the door and try to hose it off. All right, boys. First start of the K-Swap jet boat. Oh. Do we have a way to shut it off? No, we do not.
If you got to shut it off, click unplug the fuel pump.
Yeah, I got the kill switch right here. I'll unplug it.
Perfect.
All right.
Yep, let's hit it.
Ready?
Yep. Oh, it's going to fire up.
It almost started right there.
Oh, it's about to. We hooked the fuel back up. I bet you it pops off.
Everything look okay over there?
Yeah.
Okay, so just try again?
Yep.
All right. Pump is back on.
Got no leaks?
She should run, no leaks.
All right. You ready to unplug that?
I got her. Dude, that sounds nasty.
All right, so definitely need to run that manifold.
Yep. Dude, water test Monday, let's go. Dude, we just gotta seal up that pump. We're hitting the water, boys.
Dude, that sounds so rowdy for
It does.
150 horsepower.
That
Yeah.
scared the crap out of me, dude.
You want
Let me
to
unplug the
There you
pump. Dude, solid, bro. Bro, it's fired right up, dude. Oh, sick. Drive-by-wire works.
Are you putting the steering wheel on it?
Yep, getting our steering wheel situated here. Oh yeah, we're ready to go, baby.
Yep.
SS
cables and all.
SS K-Swap.
No, SS Titanic, boy.
K-Swap jet boat is alive, boys.
Hey, we did
Dude.
say we weren't uploading until it ran.
That's what I
There it
said.
is.
I reminded him I did not want to put a video out until she ran. I had to stick to my word. And the boat runs. So now all we got to do is a lot of things. But
We just got to button everything up on it.
we just got to
and
literally
finish the build,
still do
but
a lot.
It's fine.
But we, that's a little heavier now. Brent's back won't like that.
Oof, yeah. it didn't
So
like it.
now we just got to get our little drive shaft back in there. We have to put the impellers back in, put the whole internals of the jet pump assembly back together, and we need to seal around our jet pump unit right there. So there's special like marine silicone that we use to seal that guy up. We need to seal up our steering cable. We still have another hole to drill for the return on the coolant side of things. We're still going to be testing our coolant system here. Hopefully all goes well there. We'll find out when we water test it. I guess we can run this manifold on there. Maybe we should just make some shooters and kind of get them up and out so we don't have all those fumes in here with us, and then maybe
Just
plug up the waste gates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to throw the O2 sensor in a pipe and come out with it. But
Yeah, we'll have to rig up the exhaust somehow, get
that
some
manifold
hardware
not
for the
fit on
mounts.
your old single turbo?
The log manifold might. We'll see. I don't know,
No,
dude. Those
but-
sound sick.
It'd be nice for the O2 sensor. So
Yeah, we'll see. We might throw that log manifold back on just to water test it, but
reminds me of
Yeah.
an old school 350 small block with
does.
true duals.
Yeah.
that does not sound like a K series.
That sounds like the E30 when we
That sounded rowdy.
Sounds pretty sick.
Dude, and it was like torquing. When you were gassing it,
Just moving the boat.
whole boat was torquing. This thing's gonna be pretty nasty, dude, especially with the turbo.
Yeah.
So I think even all motor, it's gonna be fun. Then we got to get a steering wheel as well. We do have vice grips that will work, but we need a steering wheel. Just a whole bunch of little things, and go from there. We still have to get the trim nozzle set up. Yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff. But huge step out of the way, boys.
It runs.
She runs.
It's sick.
I'm freaking pumped.
That's cool.
We're hitting the water next week. It's going down.
Yep. About it. Sketchy test rides. Let's go.